G'day everyone, my name is Alvis. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of all of the new features in Overwatch 2. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I think a lot of people don't really fully comprehend what Overwatch 2 is trying to do, how big it's going to be compared to the original Overwatch game. Now one of the reasons is you might have seen that picture that came out recently that was for the beta, and it was like one new hero, new visual updates. That's not Overwatch 2. Like this is a DLC, right? What are you really trying to sell here? So let's just go over some of the features here and we're going to categorize them. Now, all these icons might not make sense, but they will. And hopefully at the end of this, you've got a better understanding of Overwatch 2 and what you can expect. Okay, so the first feature that we're going to talk about is Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 will be cross-compatible. So if you do not want to buy Overwatch 2, but you've still got Overwatch 1, you can still play with Overwatch 2 players. Now, obviously this is an awesome feature, right? This is for the players first. The previous game director, Jeff Kaplan, had to go out of his way to convince Activision Blizzard to allow Overwatch 1 players to play with Overwatch 2 players. So this straight up S tier. Like this is just good for gamers. You don't have to have Overwatch 2 to be able to play with people that do have Overwatch 2. Good for the community, good feature. Now, one of the awesome features that I heard they did have to battle for as well is all of your cosmetics. So all your skins, your sprays, all the stuff that you've earned through the game or possibly even purchased through loot boxes, that will be carried over to Overwatch 2 as well. So you don't have to worry about all your skins, having to buy everything all over again. This is honestly like, I want to put this in A tier just because I feel like if you're going to have Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 compatible, then this comes with that as well, right? This should be a part of it if that's the case. We're going to put it in S tier because it's obviously great. Now, one of the big things that worried me was when Overwatch 2 launches, we're going to need some new heroes, like not just one new hero. So it turns out on launch, there's expected to be 4 new heroes. Okay, so Overwatch, off the top of my head, I don't know how many heroes there are. Was there like 30 heroes, give or take? I don't know. But Overwatch 2 will have 4 new heroes off launch. Basically saying is they will be releasing new heroes as the game goes on, similar to the way that Overwatch 1 did its thing. There were new heroes all the time. Off a game launch, to have a whole game that is about the heroes, and then to call it a sequel, right? An Overwatch 2. I think 4 heroes is pretty weak. Honestly, I think it's pretty weak. But at the same time, their model is to have more heroes come throughout the year. So it's an online service, right? This is what Overwatch is. So for that reason, I'm going to give them a little bit higher. But to open up a sequel game, which is 4 new heroes, I mean, yeah, like in the middle, I guess, like anything less than 4 heroes would be bad. So I think this is just right down the middle. Yeah. Okay. So the next feature is the PvP of the game. So Overwatch 2 is broken down into PvP and PvE, so person versus environment or enemy. Overwatch PvP will now have 5 heroes on each team rather than the 6. Now, there's a lot of memes around Overwatch 1 being just super cluttered. You can't see what's going on. And yeah, it is quite cluttered. But honestly, I like it. 6 versus 6 is fine, but there are major downfalls in the game because you've got everyone that wants to play DPS. Well, the majority of people want to play a DPS hero. 5v5 is going to make way less. So obviously they're going to have to make changes to the characters. So is removing one hero out of the 6v6 traditional format to 5v5, is this a good feature? Well, yeah, it's going to speed up the game. It's going to feel less like a grindy MOBA shooting shields to a shooter game. I think this is a really good move, and all the features, all the changes that come with having to do 5v5 make this an even better feature. I would put this at A tier. This is A. I mean, don't go too far, change the game too much, but if you could speed it up and make it more of a shooter, that's wonderful in my opinion. 5v5, definitely A tier. It's going to be good. Piggybacking off the last feature, 5v5, what they're doing is they're taking away one tank. So instead of 2 tanks, 2 DPS,
person versus
2
environment.
healers, it'll just be 1 tank. Now, I'm a little bit on the fence with this feature because essentially it's already hard to queue up. As if you want to play DPS, it's difficult, right? It's the 30-minute queue. Now, if you take away 1/2 of the tanks, right, that means 1/6 of the player base. So does that mean that it's going to be a longer queue for DPS because there's now only 1 more tank slot? So 1 tank instead of 2. Honestly, guys, low key, this is S tier, okay? Shields are the worst thing in Overwatch. It just takes away so much of the fun and the skill in the game. You're shooting shields, right? It's boring. So yeah, 1 shield instead of 2. Good feature. Next up, what they're doing to balance the 5v5 and the 1 tank slot, so actually increasing the base speed, just the movement speed, right? And mobility of DPS characters. Is this a good feature? Yeah. Cool. Speed the game up. Why not? Make it way more fast paced. It's already fast paced. That's the whole point of Overwatch. That's what makes it so good because it's just so in your face and quick. Doubling down on this system, I'm going to put it at a B, just straight down at the middle, because I don't really know how well this is going to play out. I mean, I can't see the game being too fast-paced, but being too slow is terrible. So I'm just going to put this straight in the middle. Next up, they're making changes to healers. So healers in the game are now going to have a passive heal as well. So in other words, you can self-heal as a healer, which you already can on some, but they're really deepening that. They're making it a little bit more viable as a healer. You don't have to, pocket each other and basically run 2 healers together all the time, always. This feature is fantastic. This is an awesome feature. To be able to have, just a passive healing in it, I think is going to put more focus on the healing roles, which I like to play healer. It allows you to be able to be a healer more, right? You can actually heal stuff and not have to worry so much about yourself dying and pocketing the other healers. More time healing other players. This is an A tier. I'd put it even higher, but I mean, S tier, is this going to make the game 10 times better? Probably not 10 times better. It's going to make it better though. And then lastly, tanks. So the changes that are coming to tanks, they're going to be more DPS damage focused. Okay. Just straight off the bat, guys, S tier straight away. The reason why people want to play DPS is because it's fun, right? It's really fun. You might like tanks, you might like healers. I like tanks, to be honest, but it's just objectively funner to play a shooting game and be able to shoot and get kills. So the fact that they're introducing this to the tanks and making them more of an aggressive role, man, if it just lowers the DPS queue time by 1/8, that's already S tier. It's already an S tier feature. It's going to make this game so much better to know that, hey, yeah, you know what? If I queue up as a DPS player, I'm going to be here for ages. I've got 2 hours of gaming. That means I'm going to get like, half an hour queue time. It's like, what? I'm going to get 3 games of Overwatch in 2 hours of my time that I allocate to play games. Yeah, you can just play a tank and get that same fulfillment as a DPS. S tier. Absolutely S tier, completely game changing. Okay, so the next one is the ping system. Now, I believe this was inspired by Apex Legends. How game changing is a ping system going to be in Overwatch? It's already really fast paced. This is an interesting one. First of all, this is a positive change, right? You don't have to have a microphone or be on comms. Your microphone broke or it's too late at night. You can't be screaming. You got a ping system now. Less toxicity, less these ones. I would give this a B tier. This is just straight down the middle, quality of life change, overall improvement. We're talking about Overwatch 2. We're talking about a sequel to a game that objectively should be better than the first or identical with more content. Yeah, this is straight down the middle. Great. I think a lot of people are going to put this up into S tier and add more value to how I feel about the ping system. But I think it's good. I think it's a good change. Okay, so they've added in a new game mode. Now, this is called Push. Okay, so essentially what it is tug of war. Right. Rather than just, capture the point. This is a tug of war system. I find this really interesting because this type of game mode has the potential to blow out a game, right? To make it like super, super long. I'm going to put this straight down in the middle again. This is a new feature. We like new features here. We won't really know how it's going to turn out until everyone gets a chance to play it. So straight down the middle, new feature. We like new things, new way to play the game. Good. In the middle. Okay, next up. So we've got, we know of 2 maps that are going to be removed in Overwatch 2. One of them is Horizon Lunar Colony, right? It's the space map. You guys all know the one. Probably haven't seen it in a while. Essentially, this map, like visually, is amazing. They got these cool low gravity elements. It's a really cool concept and it was done really well, but the actual level design itself is terrible, right? It's just a terrible, terrible level design. They're removing it. The fact that the developers are taking the opportunity to see and be like, hey, we've got this content. We made it. I don't want to take it away, right? We're taking something away. Sometimes this is better. And the fact that they can have the humility to know that this map is dog shit and we shouldn't put it in the game. This is, I think, A tier. This is A tier. The removal of the map is A tier. I'm talking about the quality of the map. It'd be an F, but just having it not in the game is really, really good. Yeah, it shouldn't be in the game. Here's one of the biggies that I think a lot of people, they know, but they don't really comprehend just how big of a feature person versus environment is going to be in Overwatch. Overwatch 2 is literally going to be split into 2. The PvP aspect, the Overwatch that we know and love, but then the other whole half of the game, I'd even say more of the game is going to be focused on person versus environment. You're fighting AI, you're doing missions, this kind of stuff. Low-key, this is really, really, really controversial. Bit of a hot take here. For me, this is F tier. I really like Overwatch, and one of the reasons why I like it is because what Overwatch 1 is. Now, they did a little bit of PvE stuff with the null sector. They did an event in Overwatch 1. Apparently, it was really popular. People really like it. And I also know that a lot of people love this. Like, they're like, oh man, like Overwatch PvE, this is going to be so awesome. Me, not so much. If I want that type of experience, I'll look for it in a different video game rather than Overwatch. This is F tier for me, and this is kind of, it hurts because essentially this is what Overwatch 2 is going to be on. Like, this is the focus of Overwatch 2. But at the same time, I don't feel bad about it because I can still play the game that I like. You know what I mean? Like, I can still play the way I want to play. The only thing that I'm missing out on is resources, right? Like, instead of focusing on a new hero, they've got, you know, they're working on missions and stuff like that. So there is some downfall. This is one of those hot takes. Yeah, I think it's F tier. Some people are going to think it's S. They're going to put it right up the top. I think it's bad. In fact, I'm going to throw it out there and just say that the longevity of this stuff in a game like Overwatch is so short. I think people are going to they're going to do these missions once. Okay. So if the mission takes half an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, however long, once, one playthrough. That's it for me anyway. So they'll probably have a ladder system, you know, some kind of like competitive element to it as well, like who can do it the quickest. Maybe even like a ranking system, like bronze, gold, silver, masters, so on. F tier for me, guys. Not a fan of it. That's just my opinion, though. Okay, so next up, actually, we'll jump forward. Now, regarding the person versus enemy, not a lot of people know much about it. So from launch, right? From launch, they are expecting to add 100 missions. 100 missions. Okay. Huge. That's a huge amount of content. Now, you already know how I feel. Like I'm not into the person versus enemy stuff. Really not a big fan of it. But I'm going to look at this feature objectively as if, hey, I did want PvE, right? This was my thing. 100 missions within that framework sounds pretty good. You know, like if you want content, you're starting off with 100 missions. S tier, right? A lot of content. And what you would expect from a sequel, from a video game. You know, you go from, say, Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2, you're not looking for a 5-hour campaign in the RPG you're playing. No, you're looking for an equally long experience. If you're going to do it, 100 missions, great way to start the game off from scratch. Now, they're also adding in a skill tier system, so like a skill tree. So this only affects the actual person versus enemy combat. And by the way, the PvE is 4 people. You run 4 people. It's not 5. And they've got a skill system involved as well. It's going to add a little bit of depth. So once again, I'm going to look at this objectively. I'm putting the skill system in B tier. And I'll tell you why. It's not that the skill system is going to be a bad feature or, you know, skill trees are bad, inherently bad in general. They're awesome. You pretty much cannot have PvE without a skill system. It adds depth. It adds individuality to each way that you play through the content. So the reason why I put it in B tier is because this is what you would expect, right? This is what you would expect. Like if they had like a Path of Exile style skill tree, then you'd be like, oh yeah, like S tier. We're talking skill trees. You know, this is amazing. The customization is amazing. No, you expect to have a skill tree system. So yeah, straight down the middle. I hope that makes sense. That they've done a complete visual redesign of the entire game. So heroes look awesome. Overwatch came out in 2016, which is pretty hard to believe. Now, we also look at games like Fortnite that recently did this as well to their game. Whether you love or hate Fortnite, they did a complete engine update. And to be honest, I think that was extremely generous, but at the same time, Fortnite is a service game, so they have to do this. They want to keep running the game. Otherwise, you get into a situation where you've got like a World of Warcraft, where the game, yeah, the engine's been updated, but it looks so old that it kind of just turns new players off. Engine update, a graphical update for a sequel of a video game. Yeah, expected. Not S tier, not A tier. It's not bad. You would expect that from a sequel as a feature. So straight down the middle. In terms of like the visual design, like how the aesthetics of the new heroes look, because they've got some art direction change as well. The art direction in Overwatch is S tier, like off its head, incredible. So amazing. But a graphical update to a brand new sequel that you're going to be paying full price for. That's what you expect, you know. Can't buy a new game and then have it still graphics on 2016. And the very last feature is we've got cross-platform support. Sorry, not cross-platform support. What you have is the game is coming out on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Nintendo Switch. So it's coming out for everyone who has a console that wants to play it. Some people have mixed feelings about this, but I think it's great. I mean, accessibility to a video game. You know, I'm an adult. I can go and buy a PlayStation or go and buy a Nintendo Switch if I want to play Zelda. You know, I can go and do that. But if you're a young person and, you know, all you've got is your Nintendo Switch and you want to play Overwatch, this is cool. This is really cool that they are supporting all of these platforms. S tier. S tier. Come on. As many people as possible get to experience the fun that I get out of Overwatch, in this case, Overwatch 2, that gets to be shared. So there's my list. Thanks for watching. See ya.